Mission 1, High-Speed Run. Welcome to Pancras International. Because of the late running, the train won't be stopping at Stratford International. Head towards the cab to get started. So hey there, Drawyah here, and welcome to South Game Train Mod 2, Southeastern High Speeds. Today, we'll be doing the first scenario in the all-new repacking Train Mod 2. Starting off with a high-speed run, slightly late running service, but should be quite a lot of fun. So we'll jump the cab, set train up, and prepare ourselves for our first departure today. So master key comes on. Set the reverser into the neutral position. We will also on the safety sensor here as well. Clear the alarms. Hold the control button for 2 seconds. So CTRL, by the way, stands for Channel Tunnel Rail Link, which is the high speed portion of the line. And we'll press the pan up, choose down button to reset the circuit breaker. Do it again until the game recognises it. Set the reverse into forward. And prepare ourselves now for our departure. Also, set the lights to day running. I think that's about it in terms of my cab setup. So I am using the rail drive controller as always to record these videos, and hopefully should give us quite a nice bit of moving around the cab and all that. So very excited for this route. In fact, Southeastern High Speed probably the most excited I've been for a route in a little while in Train Sim World. It's the UK High Speed line between London to Pancras and Ebbsfleet International, where we then run on the slow Southeastern line up to Faversham via Gillingham, and then the Channel Tunnel Rail Link itself continues on through to Dover, where it enters the Channel Tunnel and ends up in France. So a lot of fun to this one. Hopefully she gets quite a good amount of coverage. So with the first scenario, high speed running, slightly late running, we will not be stopping at Stratford on routes. We'll put ourselves down for door closure. So we are a few seconds behind as well, so something we need to keep a very close eye on. Resets the driver awareness, and let's get this train moving. As we depart from Pancras International, we're now on the CTRL Channel Tunnel Rail Link. And basically, what that means is we're now running in kilometers per hour. So running on the French network, we're running in kilometers per hour rather than miles per hour. And we're also going to be following the in-cab signalling. So the same system as the TGV, therefore what we used to use in the LGV Mediterranean route. We follow the small box in the centre here, which gives you your speed limit. And that system kicks into life as soon as we enter the main tunnel. So between here and Stratford International there's a large tunnel. In there the system kicks to life. Also quick turn the reading light on while we're in tunnels as well, for sake of visibility. In that tunnel, the system will kick into life, and it's in there as well. We'll then start to notice our speed increase. So it should be a lot of fun this. Do get a chance to run at high speed, especially through Stratford International, where this train will not be stopping. This, by the way, is a service running to Strood at the moment. So if you look at the front of the train there, the destination is Strood. To 60 kilometers per hour. I am also running with the rail driver, by the way, so for those who don't know, I have a rail drive controller, which is basically a in-cab control for home computers, and hopefully this should give us quite a bit of depth in how we're driving. It's been very good so far in the routes I've done. Should be very exciting for the future. So we're up to 80 km per hour now, which is line speed. Very shortly, that'll jump up to 200. And from there up to 225, which is the maximum line speed here in the UK. Next station, Ebbsfleet International in 20 miles. We'll arrive there in about 13 minutes. So again, gives you an idea of how quick this section track is. 20 miles in 13 minutes. It's almost unheard of in railways here in the UK. As the Southeastern High Speed is the only UK railway that has got all the systems that allows for it, so in-cab signalling, compatible trains, and straight line routes. The other line that could do it is the West Coast Main Line, so the trains of Class 59 to Pendolinos have got the in-cab signalling and are capable of doing 140 miles per hour. The only reason they don't is because the signalling on the line does not have the in-cab signalling system. So Train Tech, who was the original privatised railway operator, they basically went bust during the construction of that, which is then why Network exists today, and the plan itself has been shelved for an unknown period of time. It's potential that it could return one day, although now there's more focus on HS2 rather than upgrading the Chatham Main Line, but there are certainly potential plans to expand it in the future, but until HS2 arrives, HS1, High Speed 1 from here to Ebbsfleet International, Channel Tunnel link to Dover, are the only true high-speed lines here in the UK. So we'll carry on increasing our speed, carry on shooting up to 225 km per hour. Officially the line speed here is 230 km an hour, but the in-cab signalling will limit you to 225, but it does have that leeway just in case you do end up going a little bit over, but not problematically over. Shortly we'll be exiting this tunnel. Pass through Stratford. I wonder if it's possible to try and get the camera. Not quite, because the trains are at the same speed as the camera. Can't quite get the view. 10 minutes to go, 15 miles. Gonna drop the speed a little bit now since we are going downhill. And we have kicked up to 233 km an hour, which is not quite what we want to be at. You need to be very careful in tunnels as the track does start to pitch up and down a bit. Then there's a short climb as we exit out over East London. Then once we're out of the tunnel, past the turbulence strokes down blockers. Track does level quite nicely, and then the only real climb we have after that is the climb up to Ebbsfleet. Speed back up a little bit. Reduce the throttle to about the number 1 position, which is still right for coasting. On a downhill bit track, it does start to accelerate you, but on a relatively shallow up climb and level track, also one I have seen doesn't do a too bad job in keeping train stable. The track lines are getting steeper as we exit the tunnel. Still at 0.2% gradient uphill. There we go, up to 0.4. I think it's either 0.6 or 0.8 it gets to its steepest in this section. We are, by the way, running a 6-car set, not a full 12-car set. So the Class 95 comes in sets of 6 carriages, so driver, rear driver, and 4 passenger carriages. And 2 of these can be combined to create a 12-car set, so 2 drive cabs connect and couple to one another. But we're running a 6-car set, I believe that one there, That's also known as 6-car sets. We've exited the tunnel now, we're in the open. On the left and right you can spot the barriers here, so these do two things. They mitigate sound from high-speed rail. They also mitigate turbulence, because the last thing I want is a strong draft of wind going across the high-speed railway line, which generally isn't too bad, but in some cases could potentially cause problems, especially turbulence caused by other train lines, in this case the lowest lines on the left. So turbulence does maybe not have much of a factor, say, in aviation, where you hit a puck, hit there and start bumping around, but even in the car, turbulence is a factor, something that you do need to be wary of. So now we're on the raised bit of track, sound barrier stroke turbulence barrier to the left, on the right, rather well protected by trees. We'll also likely start slowing down in a couple of moments as we start to approach the entry point into Ebbsfleet International. In terms of late departure, it's not doing alright in terms of potentially saving a few minutes on arrival when we get there. Which, if that is the case, means we get a few minutes to explore the station, look around before we get our departure out. Otherwise it's 6 minutes to travel 7 miles. In terms of the local lines on the left, you get 2 trains operated on that. You get the Class 375, the Electra Stars, and the Class 365/66, the Network Expresses. So Network Expresses were built in the early 90s, the Electra Stars, they were early 2000s. The entry into Ebbsfleet, we'll get a AWS alerter. Basically that's just to remind the driver to switch over to the DC power when we arrive, because as we leave Chatham Main Line High Speed line, we no longer operate on overhead catenary, but instead we use third rail electric. So the line speed there does drop considerably, and the train can no longer travel at the full 140 miles per hour down to maybe around 60 to 80, but that's because the third rail way of pulling power for a train line is not quite as fast, not quite as optimised or efficient as running overhead catenary. Overhead catenary has always been the more popular method of running the train line, especially high speed. This is a little bit on the slower side. And they've got the Queen Elizabeth Bridge. And we now need to start slowing down. 225 blinking, that means down to 200. Anyway. Ultra blinking, that means down to 160. So then down to 140, 140 to 100, and then thereafter train comes to a hard stop. Actually, might be 130, then down to 100. 160, so we go down to 130. Stable. 2.5% uphill gradient, so I'll definitely put a little bit of power in just to keep trains steady. Sets. 1,000 yards to go. We're now going to slow down for the station. We are nice and early. We're another 2.5 minutes to go, so plenty of time for a slower approach. Just to ensure that we are exactly in the stopping location. Also, got to keep an ear out for the AWS signal. platform just visible now on the corner there, just around the bend. Silence that. And it's right at the end of the platform here at Ebbsfleet. Right down to the end of the platform. Halt. Perfect. Doors open. Now going to switch the power mode into neutral. We're going to hold the DC button for a couple of seconds as the light turns on, and then press the pan up, shoes down button, which will now lower the pantograph and lower the third rail electric shoes. So we have a look down at the base of the train now. Trying to look for a contact points. Right there, so you can see the shoes now lowered, is touching the third rail electric line, and the pantograph, which was up at the top of the train, has now been lowered and has been stowed away now for the rest of the journey. So we're no longer a fast train, we're no longer a high-speed service, we're now just a regular commuter train with a fancy blue high-speed shell. As the line speed, it does limit quite a bit. We no longer travel at high speed, maximum I think is now 100 miles per hour. As we start heading towards Gillingham. Also notice the lower right's the UI has now changed, so it's no longer in miles per hour, it's now switched over to kilometers per hour. Doors. Ah, okay, so it's going to make us do the changes it. So hold that for 2 seconds, that's already done. Press the pan up, shoes down button. Unlock the doors. I guess we're just going a little bit too fast for the scenario there. I have to say, the Ebbsfleet International model doesn't look all that bad. I've been down via Ebbsfleet, I've been all the way to Paris also before, on the Eurostar. In the surrounding area, it's not really getting that bad. It's a very nice little model, this. Down below is the high speed tracks. This is where the Eurostar stops. So we'll prepare ourselves in a couple of minutes for our departure, and then we shall be on our way. Will it give us time of departure? The answer is I don't think so. Wait, passengers get moving, so no. As soon as that finishes, lock the doors, and then we shall get our way going. So reset reverse forward. Power up. Next station, Gravesend at 17:34. So just under 2 miles, 4 minutes to travel. The train also does have different running sounds now. As running on the third rail electric shoe, we do have a slightly different running motor on board now, and therefore different sounds do indicate different running modes on the train. So again, small details that they'll have included that really do improve the experience of running these trains. I must say, it's quite a fun one to drive, the 395. Very modern, very slick, very easy to get yourself going. We've now crossed over to the Chatham Main Line now. We're running at 60 miles per hour now for the next course of the journey, down to 30 as we approach the station at Gravesend. You hear the vigilance in the background, being away every couple of minutes. 70. Put a little bit braking now for 30. Prepare ourselves for the next stop. Gillingham. So we have our 2 through platforms in the middle. We also have a single terminating platform on the right hand side. And on the right hand side you generally get class 365 services that run to Charing Cross, terminate here at Gillingham. Gravesend, sorry, terminates here at Gravesend. Gillingham's a bit further down the line. Run up to the 6 car stop marker. Oh, slightly run over it in fact. Doors open lefts. And their passengers disembark the train. I have to say, the side of the station as well have been very, very nicely recreated. So this is the former Chatham Gillingham Main Line, one of the former rail companies that used to operate before the days of British Rail. And small details, right up to the roof metalwork here, very nicely recreated. A few discoveries as well here, which we'll do at some stage. Now to this platform on the far west of the station. There we are, 10 years of high speed. And we try and drive also determine the full Southeastern outfit. So you've got the blue outfit with the lighter blue trimming. So we put ourselves in a couple minutes of departure, about a minute now before them. So while we're here, let's look at the town around. So you've got a car park up above. Down below, you've got a few different cuttings. Again, for when steam trains used to operate, cutting out the steam to escape the tunnels without any problems. It's a very pretty route, this. Very pretty route. Even the clouds, I don't know, not perfect, but definitely better than what we had before in Train Some Wild. Small environmental things that Tal are upgrading, fixing, do greatly improve the experience of these routes. So we'll close the doors about 15 seconds for departure. I think in South East it's more 20 seconds when doors close. And we'll prepare ourselves for our next stop. And brakes down to minimum. Let's now get going. Station Strood, 10 minutes, 6.5 miles. The limit is to 30 in this short section. It has increased to 50 as soon as we start exiting the township here at Gravesend. And in Strood is where this train terminates. All passengers disembark. We prepare for a return journey back to St Pancras. Up to 4, let's get going. The power back to slot's position, up to 17, about 200 yards. And again, just slowly watch the speed increase as we crawl our way over towards Strood. Yeah, it's a very fun. Whoops. Almost got that by 385 there. 375 even. I'm thoroughly enjoying this route so far. Like I said, I was very excited for the Southeastern High Speed. Very excited when it was first announced. So far, absolutely adoring it. Absolutely adoring it. Hold it at 70. Potentially see a few more local services traversed by us on the other line. There was a high-speed service as well at the passes just before us at St Pancras. I'm not quite sure how far ahead of us that train is. We can probably check on the map. It's even still on this line. We've just got diverted elsewhere because you have two lines. You have one that goes via Faversham and one that goes via Dover Priory. So you have a easterly branch and a southerly branch that makes Southeastern. The Dover branch probably the more scenic of the two. Gillingham, probably the, Faversham even, probably the faster of the two. But yeah, so don't you get the sense of high speed here on the high speed line, the high speed train. I'm not sure about future expansion. I mean, obviously it'd be nice for a slightly longer, I guess, high-speed section part of Southeastern High Speed here in HS1, but with the HS1 ultimately being the Channel Tunnel rail link, the line between here and Dover, here in Dover for Calais, it does kind of divert a bit, but definitely between London and Ebbsfleet, the fact you can get 20 miles in 10 minutes, it just gives you the, well, even less than 10 minutes, like 12 wasn't it, or whatever around there, but it's certainly the fastest of all the lines so far. And there's massively improved connection between here and South East England. A lot of people now travelling for work as well into the heart of London. Before, it used to be about 90 minutes to get from Dover to London. Nowadays, it can be done about 50, 60 minutes. So it's almost half the travel time of the HS1. Passing through a local station. Passing through Ion. In Pancras Tunnel. So that was Higham. Higham gets semi-regular services. Train things like once every hour or so. Maybe a bit more than that, but generally served more by the extra stars rather than the high-speed trains. The high-speed trains mainly operate at the major stations on the way. So, St Pancras, Stratford, Faversham, Ebbsfleet, Strood, Gravesend. So it's the major townships on the way, while the local lines stop at all the local stations on the way. In terms of service pattern, Southeastern High Speed probably one of the more well-liked routes here in the UK. Okay. Not sure what's going on there. There we go. Back to normality. Alright, well, miles going now to Strood. Very shortly, bring the train into termination. West, just letting us know now need to slow down. Number 5 passing on the right hand side. Down to 15 miles per hour. go. And just slowly across the platform and bring our train to a halt. A little bit of power in just to push train that a little bit further to the end of the platform. So you notice on the destination display there, train does terminate here. And these destination displays, sorry, platform displays are dynamic. They do change depending on the train service, the route, the type, small things. That's now done through the line rather than train itself. So something that Dovetail have talked about a lot in their release streams, previous streams. In regards to getting platform displays right, they've put a lot of work into those small details. So now it's Strood, and now where the train terminates, we'll switch train off. Presumably, actually, we'll wait until the until Snorri tells us to do so, and then we'll switch train to off. So here again, you've got a fork in the line. Train departs to the left, train departs straight forward. On the left, that's the launch that we will be taking, which is the train that goes to Chatham all the way down to Faversham. Although straight on, that's the line to, I believe it's Maidstone, goes via Cuxton. So on this narrow Southeastern, we take the left, straight up ahead. That's the next branch that doesn't generally get operated by high-speed trains, I don't believe. So wait for the load of passengers to tick over. Officially, this ends at 1746. Might as well have a look around the station while we're here as well. Once again, very nicely detailed. Very nicely created for the scenario. The class 375 coming through. And on the 375s, you have, I guess, two colour nominations outside the train. It's got the yellow at the front, which nominates the first class, and there should be a red section somewhere. There it is, which nominates disabled access. So, disabled toilets, less seating, apart from the traversey with the lower seats. So, trains are all able to show where passengers can disembark or board and disembark either for first class or extra access. I don't know, I quite like the Southeastern liveries as well. It's like it's almost a royal blue, that. Royal blue. Plaster has black colouring on the windows. Local trains, we've just got the standard Electric Star style to it. Right, so we'll set train down now, so reverse to neutral. Sets the DRA. Sets the power handle to maximum brake. Please. Can't go any more than that. It's an emergency. There we go. Reverser comes to the off position. And shut the master key to off. And there we have it. Disembark the train. Thank you for stepping into service. Let's see how you did. The menu pops up. Take your time. There we go. Right, so that took us 35 minutes 1 second. Drove 31 miles, walks 20 yards. Watch the levels go up. I think it's 57 for character, level 6 down Southeastern High Speed, level 6 on the Class 305 Southeastern blue colours. In terms of timing, we didn't do too bad. A couple minutes early for all the stations, top accuracy. Again, within a couple of yards, I can't really fault that. But there's a lot to manage in this line. You've got the high-speed portion at the start, which you need to make sure your train's not going to go too fast. Then you have the slower local lines towards the latter part of the route. And, well, you've got to manage different speed changes. You've got to manage from kilometres an hour to miles per hour. There's no automated train speed hold control like the French lines or the German lines, so you are manually adjusting the throttle for each bit. And it's just small sort of things that you need to make sure you're doing correctly, but ultimately for a very enjoyable run, this. So, that was the first scenario, high-speed run. That was Southeastern High Speed from London, London, St Pancras to Strood. I'm never going to forgive Matt Pendleton for saying London Faversham in his stream once, as I've now got that stuck in my head. Or was it London Ebbsfleet, he said? I can't quite remember. But, yeah, that brings us down to the end of our first run here. So, tune in tomorrow, we'll do the second run of High Speed, which will be the joining in scenario. Otherwise, until then, thank you all very much for watching. Take care, and I shall see you again in the very near future. Have a good one, and goodbye.